This is a quick demonstration of the Digitize Sections add-on tool for Civil 3D 2013. So what the tool does is allows you to take polyline data that's in the form of a cross-section that is not associated with anything in Civil 3D and actually add intelligence to it and create a surface model from that. So what we have is basically replicated that scenario here. We have some cross-section data. You can see these are just simple polylines. There is no intelligence about any of this. It's basically exploded cross-sections, but you could get this in a myriad of different ways. If someone just sent you a drawing that had cross-sectional data in it that wasn't Civil 3D, or let's say someone scanned some PDFs or some drawings and then used raster to digitize all of those polylines, you could do that. So basically the requirements to use this tool are you need a horizontal alignment and you need the cross-sectional data, and inside the cross-sectional data you need a place to reference the centerline point and some sort of elevation point. So we do have a centerline here that we're going to run off of, and we do have our cross-sectional data. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to zoom in here to the first section, start the digitize section command, and the dialog basically walks you through the tabs. So you go to your set options, then your cross sections, and then finally the optional break lines if you want to create those. So the first thing you want to do is actually create a cross section set name, and we're going to just call this one proposed for right now. And notice here you can add, rename, copy, or delete. So if you make multiple sections and you want to go back and add a different surface or reassociate with different graphics, you can do that. Then you're going to specify which alignment, and then also what's the name of the surface and all of the options associated with that surface. So we're going to do proposed graphics, and we're going to say for the description from cross section. Also pick your style and then the object layer for that. I'm just going to pick any layer here. We also have some other options here if you want to create an exterior boundary from basically the outlying points on the cross sections. You can do that. We can also ignore invalid stations. So if you entering in a station that is actually not on the alignment, this will ignore it, or if you toggle that off, it'll stop processing. If you just want to create the line work only in plan view and not create the graphics, you can do that. We also have a station increment here. For today, I'm just going to use 100, and then a default vertical exaggeration. Also have a layers control, so this will control all of the data that gets created inside of this drawing, what layer it goes on by default. We've got a few things set up for you. So the next thing you'll do is actually start specifying the cross sections, and here we're just going to enter in our first station name, click the centerline point, and it can either be the 0 point here or you could actually specify right here. I'm just going to click down here because it's easier. And then the same thing, you're going to do 690, and you're going to give it an elevation point, just some sort of reference, and then you're going to select the actual polyline and click add. Adds it down. Increments up for 2. We're going to do the same thing. Go find our 2 plus 0, 0. Click here, and this actually has the same elevation, so that's nice and easy for us to use. Select our polyline. Add. Again, we'll do 4 or 5 of these so you can get the drift. Select our polyline. Add. Go to 4 plus 0, 0. And if you wanted to specify a different station, of course you could. You just type in whatever you want here. But for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to take the evens. Click add. Notice here we also have a wizard button, so if you click the wizard button, it kind of takes you through all this. Enter the station. It takes the default. You can just hit enter here. Ask you to pick the centerline point. You can do that. Ask you for the elevation. We're going to take the default, and then ask you for the point for the elevation. You can also just click or just type in U to use the centerline point. We'll just go ahead and click that. Vertical exaggeration is 5, and then select the polyline. And we'll go ahead and do one more using this wizard. And 6 plus 0, 0. Click the point. Elevation. Click the point. Accept 5. Select the polyline. And that's it. So we basically have 6 cross sections here, and so we could finish if we want to go ahead and create the surface, or we can go into our break line tab and actually add linear break lines to help densify the surface or to control your triangles. So what you want to do is basically pick your cross section, click the zoom to button, it'll take you right in there and try to fit the polyline. And then you're going to start creating your names. So what's going to do is try to connect the names from one cross section to another. So we're going to do CL, and I'm just going to pick the point here, click add. Notice here it adds your current points down into here. We're going to do EP1 and click our point, add, EP2, click our point, add, and now we're ready to move on to the next section. We'll go ahead and click this, do our zoom to, and notice our previous points are up here for selection so that we know exactly what we were using in the previous section, so we don't have to remember. You just simply click it, fills in the name for you, click the point, add, click the point, add. Notice it's also adding the text here. And add. If we didn't like where we ended up putting this EP2, so let's say we actually wanted it up here, you can click the point location, click update, and it moves it up there for you. Let's go ahead and move this guy back. So click our EP2, click our point location, click update, and there he's moved back. Moving forward, we'll do a couple more here. Do our zoom to, centerline point, add, edge of pavement, add, and edge of pavement, add. So that gives us 3 sections here. So the next thing you want to do is basically hit the run button. If you click OK, it's not going to actually create the surface for you. It will just save the data inside of the drawing. So this is persistent. If you come back into the drawing later on and run the command, all your data will be saved. But for this demonstration, we'll go ahead and click run, and you can see here that the polylines and surface have been created. Click OK, and then click OK here. And let's go ahead and take a look at the actual surface it created. So notice here we have our cross sections as break lines. We have our exterior boundary, and we also have these few linear features we created as well. If we go over to the prospector and actually take a look at the surface we created, you'll notice in the definition we do have our boundary, and we have our break lines. And notice we tried to give them some intelligent name. You'll see the cross sections, the different cross section IDs. Then we'll have our center line, EP1 and EP2. So if we actually spin this up and look at it, you'll be able to see what it actually created here. You'll notice that the cross sections, as I zoom in here, spin this a little bit more, you can see the cross-sectional polylines it created, you can see the exterior boundary, and you can see the linear break lines. Just move this back to top. And again, if you wanted to edit what you did there, go back to digitize sections. Notice here the cross-section set name is here. All your cross-sections are back in here. And then again, all your break lines are in here. So let's say you wanted to move the alignment. You simply would have to come back in the dialog, rerun the command, and your surface will be recreated. And that concludes the demonstration of digitized sections.